Hi everyone, welcome to Between the Covers. I'm sorry I haven't posted anything in a month. So I'm going to tell you guys kind of why I haven't posted anything in a month. First off, I got back from London. I was home for 2 days and then I went to Portland for Comicon, Rose City Comicon, which was really, really cool. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Comicon, do, because it was fantastic. Everyone's dressed up and it's a really cool environment where everyone just gets to be super excited about these things that make them super excited. So you had all the fandoms of people who were excited about books and movies, and it was really, really cool. It was divided up into kind of two sections. There was like this section of main booths and kind of the more, I want to say official, but like Dark Horse Comics had a booth, and there were the Lord of the Rings prop guys were there, and then there was a section called Artist Alley, which is where all these artists set up, and that's actually where I was situated. I was helping a friend of mine, Scott Cranack, with his booth and selling his books, which I will be doing a video on, which you will see later today, because I feel like I owe you a lot of videos. But what I really wanted to talk about was, first off, all the consent there. So you had all these people cosplaying, and there were a bunch of really cool ones. And a lot of female superheroes are in skin-tight clothes, because, you know, you don't want a cape to get snagged on and whatnot. Blah, 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 Edna mode. And there have been a lot of issues with female cosplay, and specifically the cosplayers being harassed at Comic-Con, which is not okay. And so there were signs everywhere about how costumes are not equal to consent, which was fantastic, and it kind of bred the super safe environment for women. For example, there was Mystique there who was body painted, and it was awesome. I wish I had pictures of all the cosplayers, but my phone was being difficult and I couldn't get pictures of anything. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about are the panels. So what they did is pretty much all day, every day, they had a series of panels talking about specific things. So I went to one it was really, really fun. It was on women in horror. And so it was supposed to be a panel of 5 people, 4 women and 1 guy, but apparently traffic was awful coming from Seattle down to Portland. So it was just a gal and a guy. It was Goth Team Rocket, which was just a fantastic way to do a panel. And they talked about women in horror and how women kind of emerged as kind of one of the protagonists in horror just because it was more fun to watch them scream and be hysterical. That was what the public wanted. And as time went on, these ended up being the characters that survived these situations. And like we talked about Carrie, and we talked about Mary Shelley, the gal who wrote Frankenstein, who was brilliant. We talked about the women in Dracula and kind of what Bram Stoker kind of said about those 2 women. And it was a really good talk. We went to one on women in Joss Whedon films and how that's so different from mainstream media to have that many strong women. Like, he routinely passes the Bechdel test, which is not common, which is awesome. For those of you who don't know, the Bechdel test is this test that you can put movies and books through. It's pretty simple. There are 2 criteria. There have to be at least 2 named female characters that have a line, and they have to talk about something other than the male protagonist. And those are the two rules for the Bechdel test. And something like 85% of movies and books fail this test. Joss Whedon passes this test a lot, like Firefly and Buffy, and it's fantastic. But he still reverts to a couple of societal kind of stereotypes. Like, he has the waifish fighting girl stereotype. A lot of his characters gain their powers, his female characters gain their powers through some sort of physical or violation. Like with River, she has her brain invaded against her will, and things like that, which was a really fascinating panel. Another one of the really cool ones I went to that I really, really liked was I went to one called Dr. Bashir, I presume, and it was really neat. So it was led by 3 women, and I wish I remembered their names because they were really cool. One was a researcher in the field of genetic biology. One was a researcher in neonatal biology. The other one was an astronomer, and they were talking about how we use science fiction to deconstruct our ideas of morality and ethics surrounding genetics, which was really, really cool. And so they looked at a whole bunch of different characters in Star Trek specifically, and it was fascinating. It was really, really cool. And then I went to 2 talks on Wonder Woman. I went to one called Getting Wonder Woman Right, which was all about why she's such a hard character to write and why so many attempts to portray her have fallen flat. And then the other one, which was this great, great talk by Professor Ben Saunders, and it was called Wonder Woman in Bondage, which was just super fun. And it looks at Wonder Woman bondage scenes and kind of the history and reason behind them in the early comics. And it was fascinating. It was, so the man who wrote them was super into like this weird branch of psychology. And he thought that submission was a really good thing. And the world would be happier if everyone submits. So Wonder Woman's entire character is about teaching men how men should submit and how they'd be happier and there would be less war. Fascinating, really fun talk, really great. So if anyone gets a chance to go to Comicon, they definitely should. So I'm going to get this video up, and there will be a video for you guys later tonight on Scott's books, and then you guys will be getting a lot of videos this week because I feel really bad, but they're not all going to be super like fun books. You guys are going to get one on rabies and another one on women's rights and the kind of social construct of women as sex objects. So I hope you'll join me for those, and as always, have a great day and happy reading.